Great. So thank you all, and welcome to the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. My name is Stephen Stump, and I am an admission counselor here at the school, and I can guide you through any questions that you may have about our admission process, the differences in our programs, or general questions about our school and university. Today's session will focus on three different programs at the master's level, and we have some special guests that I can't wait to introduce you to. First and foremost, we are the nation's premier school of gerontology. We're the oldest and the largest, and we study gerontology across the lifespan. So from birth to death and everything in between. Our main mission is to create the next generation of leaders within the field of aging, and I'm excited that all of you are here to join us to be the next generation of leaders. We're able to offer this type of training through four different core disciplines, whether that be biology, sociology, psychology, or public policy. And we can give this since our faculty have not only joint appointments across the university, but world-class business expertise within the field. As some of you may know, our campus is located in downtown Los Angeles, and our students are coming from all across the world, creating diversity within our courses, as well as in our student population. If you're unable to come to our campus in Los Angeles, some of our master's programs are also offered fully online for your convenience. So today I'm joined by three different panelists, Jim Biggs, Tavia Roach, and Lourdes Bustamante. So first, I'm going to introduce Jim Biggs, who is an adjunct lecturer here at the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. And he is also Chief Development Officer at Momentum Senior Living. Jim has been involved with the senior living industry for over 30 years, and his experience includes working with over 45 different communities in the US and China. One of his recent positions was a managing director of a full-service senior housing management company located in China. And for 6 years, he's also helped bring new practices and trends to the evolving market in China. Before becoming CDO of Momentum Senior Living, he was Vice President and Director of Operations Management for Life Care Services, one of the largest senior living communities and continuing care retirement communities in the US. There, he's worked directly with 45 senior housing sites and oversaw 23 communities. And now I'm going to hand it over to Jim.
Thank you, Stephen. The sound okay? So again, as Stephen talked about, 36 years of senior living, senior housing. It sounds kind of funny saying that out loud, but I did start July 1st, 1988. I know when I talk about this in class, most of the students not even born then, but nevertheless have had it's a wonderful way to make a living. It's funny, when I was doing my undergraduate work back in the 1980s, everyone was pushing hospital management. Hospital is the way to go. And we had one guest speaker who came in who spoke a little bit about senior living. And for whatever reason, it just resonated with me. It sounded like an interesting way. And so when the rest of the school graduates, most of them went on to careers in hospital management. I kind of got into senior living. Part of that experience was in 2011. I actually took the plunge, had my midlife crisis, moved the family and the dog to Shanghai, China, and Tianjin, China, where I actually served 6 years working directly for a Chinese senior housing / real estate company who named me the managing director of the Hongwei Senior Living. We ended up building about 14 properties there in the 6-year period, most of which were under the Friendship House brand. There was also a boutique CCRC in Zhongshan Park area of Shanghai, over in Puxi, called Jade Tower. And then Chongming Island, off the coast of Shanghai, we did an active adult. The I am currently was a co-founder and started off as chief executive officer. I've been winding down my career. I went from chief executive officer to chief operating officer and now chief development officer um, at Momentum Senior Living. And most of the responsibilities are staff development, particularly some of the newer employees, and then working on development and new business as well. Next slide, please. So again, I share this with you to kind of let you know what I talk about in class. And it's Stephen, I'm like, tell me what you want to talk, what you want me to talk about. And he was like, tell me your approach to what you bring into the classroom. And that's kind of what I bring into the classroom is Momentum is probably one of the fastest growing management companies in the country. Our project in the Varial in Woodland Hills, and that's where Lourdes is currently working. We'll hear from Lourdes in a few minutes. Is one of the when they gave a list of the top 10 properties, senior housing properties in the United States, I think we came in at number 2 on that list. Again, it's a wonderful company. It's a fast growing company and very big on hospitality. And that's, again, not one of those academic oriented professors who talk about how things ought to be or how we want them to be. There's nothing aspirational about it. If anything, we use case studies from the field, from the property. Was kind of particularly interesting during COVID, where I was actually working inside a community in Chicago called the Carrington. This would have been back in 2020. When COVID hit, I was actually teaching, among other things, management and leadership of senior living. Kind of, Thursday night, I would fly from O'Hare back to LAX, would teach Friday morning, fly back to Chicago on Saturday. And that was life until COVID hit. Then I was stuck inside the community. But it was literally, rather than talking about what people thought was going on inside the community, we were able to share exactly just how crazy things were when COVID hit inside the communities. So again, I use that as an example. That's kind of what from one side we do bring the real world into the classroom. Another professor I work with, who is the co-founder, is Josh Johnson. He deals with the marketing side. Again, his case studies are, in some cases, the communities we manage as well. So again, we're out there when we talk about senior housing trends. We are part of we'd like to think we're part of that trend setter. More importantly, because of that 6 years in China, I still keep one eye on the international opportunities. Just earlier today, 10 o'clock, I had a phone call with somebody who wants to do a project in Vietnam. And then just got done right prior to this call dealing with an attorney for a project in Panama. Again, we do think international opportunities are part of the near-term future of senior living, which makes it even more exciting. But to me, as sure as I was that senior living rather than hospital was the way to go, I'm beginning to think more and more and bringing this more and more into the class that age tech, that technology and its role, not just within senior living, but within the aging process itself, which is enabling people to live longer. It's slowing down the moves to senior living. And again, I very forthrightly talk about, and we as we talk about trends in aging services, it's less. 6 years ago, it was almost exclusively senior living. After COVID, after everything else, about half of these classes are technology, both what steps senior living can do to bring tech in to make them more attractive, but more and more, we're also talking about bringing tech into the homes, helping people age more more comfortably and longer. Right now, when we think about transformational effect of age tech, traditionally 1 out of 3 people who moved into senior living have fallen in the last 6 months. 1 out of 3 had some concerns with the family members about socialization. Nowadays, with my Apple iWatch, um, with the Apple Watch, with products such as Inspirin, which monitor activity in the homes, if somebody does fall, it's no longer been a concern like the old commercial, I've fallen and can't get up. Just the opposite. Nowadays, it's I've fallen, and that help is instantly there. So it doesn't create the fear factor, doesn't create the concern, and people are delaying, making that delay to move into senior living. Obviously, with the Zoom, with the video calls, socialization is a lot easier. I'm 65 years old. I do Zoom with my 6 grandkids every almost every Sunday. And again, socialization no longer a problem. Next slide, please. So again, I think people say, well, why do you teach and why at USC? Number one, and Stephen touched on some of these topics. The USC network is phenomenal. We have a WeChat group for the Chinese students. With Aging Asia, we've worked on trying to broaden the horizons into the Asian market, and we've got some well-established ties in South America as well. And so within the United States, obviously there's a higher concentration in California, but a lot of the guest speakers we bring in are graduates of the Davis School of Gerontology, sometimes 20, 25, 30 years ago. And it's kind of nice to see them still supportive, still giving credit, and above all, creating opportunities for both internships and positions within their companies. And make no bones about it, jobs is a important factor at that USC education, that in the classroom, I'm constantly asking students and challenging students to promote themselves with LinkedIn. We have an unofficial agreement with China Civic. We've outsourced, I think, 6 employees now of our 6 graduate students from USC who wanted to go back to China to work. China Civic is hiring them. It's a fast-growing company in Shanghai. In the United States, since I've been on the faculty, I've seen students placed with Silverado, Belmont Village, Momentum Senior Living, my company, and many others. Um, and again, it opens up doors, and more importantly, it opens up doors higher on the job ladder, that you're able to start your career sooner. Um, and I think at a higher level, just simply because that USC reputation in the industry, particularly with the Leonard Davis. So again, it's kind of, I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen, but it's kind of nice to see the next 2 speakers, both of whom are recent graduates and who are already embarked upon their career. So Stephen, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to hear you talk about how some of your experience influences the case studies that you bring into your classes and the unique perspective that you can give our students. And that leads us perfectly into our next speaker, who I'm excited to introduce as Tavia Roach, who just graduated this past semester from our Master of Arts in Aging Services Management program. Tavia's career spans various industries, including the technology component that Jim was talking about, finance, and healthcare, where she's consistently demonstrated her ability to drive operational excellence and deliver high impact solutions. So her expertise is in process improvement, team leadership, cross-functional collaboration, and she's been instrumental in achieving organizational goals in her current position. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Tavia.
Hi, very honored to speak today. Thank you so much for having me, Stephen. So I was in the Masters of Arts in Aging Services Management program. And so my main takeaway from my experience at USC was that gerontology shapes the outcomes of tomorrow. I really enjoyed my program. I've been doing gerontology research for about 4 years now. I started at Howard University, and then I had an internship with USC where I first met Stephen. Um, and then I did research with Dr. Christian Pike, and we researched Alzheimer's disease, and that kind of fostered my love for gerontology. And then I found out about the Masters of Arts in Medical Gerontology program, which is what I originally came in to USC as. And then I realized that I wanted to learn more and dive into different parts of gerontology. So I switched into the Masters of Arts in Aging Services Management program. Some of my favorite classes in the program were geropsychology, current issues in aging services, and I really enjoyed Alzheimer's disease and advanced dementias and end of life care. Those classes were some of my favorites. They were super interesting. I really feel like I touched on all the different aspects of aging in this program. Some of my favorite parts of the program were just learning about marketing. That was really interesting to me. Learning about elder abuse and mistreatment and just all the different forms that that can manifest through, especially now with the lots of different new forms of technology that are rising and how this older adults may have challenges adjusting to this, how we can also use technology to make aging a lot easier in the coming years. So I also liked how this program highlighted the importance of advocacy and inclusion for older adults and just any vulnerable population. We also looked at the gaps in the healthcare system. And yeah, next slide, please. A big part of my time at USC was doing research with Dr. Brown. So I was in Dr. Lauren Brown's lab. I recently presented at GSA in November. One of my research that we conducted is on older Black women and Latinas women with higher BMIs experience of discrimination in the healthcare setting. And we found that Black women face discrimination throughout their lifetime have a higher incidence of depression as they grow older. And Black and Latina women with higher BMIs do experience more discrimination in the healthcare setting. I thoroughly enjoyed my time doing research here. We are working on a publication that I'm very excited to publish and have out there. We are doing really groundbreaking research in this field. Next slide, please. So throughout my time at USC, I've found the courage and been supported in making my next step to apply to medical school, which I'm currently working on right now. I'm working on also MD, PhD programs, and hopefully I'll be back at USC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tavia, for sharing your experience and being a recent grad, and best of luck to you on the next part of your journey applying to MD, PhD programs.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
And next, I would like to introduce Lourdes Bustamante, who is a visionary in senior living healthcare. She is a graduate of two different programs here at USC, the Master of Arts in Aging Services Management, just like Tavia, and also our Bachelor of Science in Human Development and Aging programs. Her work has been pivotal in transforming senior living communities into vibrant, supportive environments. I've even got to visit her at work at the Varial, which is located in metropolitan LA. And there she focuses on implementing innovative technologies, fostering social connections, and ensuring personalized health services, all with the goal of enhancing the quality of life for the seniors. And I'll turn it over to Lourdes.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. And good to see you, Jim, Tavia, Stephen. um, I actually did my undergrad at USC. I did the Human Development and Aging program, and I was able to do the progressive degree program as well. For those who aren't familiar with it, if you stay within your same field of study, you can actually finish your master's in 1 year instead of two. So, I mean, in a school like Davis, I think it's a great opportunity It's another year of learning, it's another year of networking and having amazing opportunities. So I did my master's in aging services management, graduated 3 years ago. I can't believe that. It feels like
Wow.
it was yesterday. But they were really some of the best years of my life. Something that I find very, very special about the Jarrow School is that since it is a smaller school compared to Dornsife or Marshall, the School of Business, the attention that you get from staff, from teachers, even from your peers, is so much more. Uh, I don't even know what the word is, like special, focused, and the connections that you make, in my experience at least, definitely helped me get to where I am right now. I started off actually as the Varial's first intern. I remember being in Jim and Josh's classes, hearing them speak about senior living and what their experience was like. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I need to ask them questions. Like, I need to pick their brain. I need to know how I can get involved. And I didn't think I was going to stay at the Varial for as long as I have. I just thought, having an internship and getting that experience would be just a good start for my career. But since being their first intern, after graduating from my master's, I was hired to be their move-in coordinator, and I helped open up the Varial. So we were moving in a lot of people. It's a 350 apartment building. So the first couple of months, even years up to now, we were getting a very, very steady influx of movement. So that was a lot of fun and a great learning experience. And from there, I was promoted to be director of hospitality. And right now, I'm also their administrator. And I just love being involved with the USC interns that come every semester to the Varial. If there's any piece of advice that I could give anyone who is going to start their academic career in Jarrow, is to really take advantage of the amazing network and opportunities that the Jarrow School offers you. Everything from office hours to joining clubs, going to their events, even asking questions and participating in class. In my opinion, participating and asking questions was the best way for me to form these relationships with my professors and for them to remember me. And that helped me get to the job that I have right now. And even outside of the Jarrow School, USC as a university offers so much. So that's definitely my 2 cents that I would like to offer everyone. And besides that, just be open to everything. When I started at the Varial, I really wanted to be in operations, and they had me join the marketing team. And I thought I was not going to like marketing at all, but I ended up loving it. And I also see it firsthand with interns. They come in thinking that they really, really want to go to a specific department. They end up getting to know a little bit of everything. Senior living is a very broad field in terms of the departments that are in the communities, and they ended up, being more interested in business office rather than operations, which is what I feel almost everyone wants to do. So those are my 2 cents. But if anyone would like to connect outside of here, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any questions, help you guys out in your journey. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lourdes.
That's
I really enjoyed how all three of our panelists mentioned this kind of community and network that's built through the School of Gerontology. And I noticed that working as staff is that it's really like a family. You really can rely on the connections that you've built, not only while in the program, but well after. And I think one way that you can rely on those connections is through picking the right program. While we do offer 12 master's programs, a graduate certificate, 2 fully funded PhDs, and a doctorate, any of the courses that would be with Jim or some of the other courses that Lourdes and Tavia have taken would be in these 3 specific programs: Aging Services Management, Long-Term Care Administration, and Senior Living Hospitality. And let me talk about each one of them a little bit more individually. Before I do that, I'll say that we do offer up to $1 million every year to our students. And you can also seek other specific scholarships, grants, fellowships, or loans through the various resources that USC can provide. All 3 of these specific programs are offered in their entirety online or in person. And you can also check which duality you want, either full-time or part-time. Some of your elective courses, you could even take some of our short-term study abroad courses, which are only 2 to 3 weeks long. And we also have internships and research opportunities like Lourdes and Tavia talked about, which could also turn into full-time positions post-graduation. So the Senior Living Hospitality degree is one of the main programs that Jim teaches in. It focuses on preparing you to become a manager, a director, owner, or operator of one of these senior care facilities, retirement communities, or assisted living facilities. You can complete the program in as little as 1.5 years or 2 years as a full-time student. And we have a collaboration with eCornell, and you can earn what we call a graduate certificate from the Cornell University's Nolan School of Hotel Administration by completing a couple of additional online modules at no additional cost in terms of your tuition dollars. So it's really teaching you the expertise, finance, revenue management, legal and regulatory issues around senior living, in addition to the hospitality perspective, as well as the nutritional, social, and psychological needs of the inhabitants in some of these facilities that you'll be either owning, operating, or managing. The program that Lourdes and Tavia talked about, the Aging Services Management Program, is really giving you specialized management and leadership skills within how to provide aging services for older adults. So whether that be going into senior housing, incorporating some of the age tech that Jim talked about, or even going into medicine post-graduation. And the program is designed to allow you to do that with its high number of elective courses. So really allowing you to study what you want to study while in the program. The third program I'll discuss is kind of the most specific, and it's long-term care administration, preparing our students to become administrators of either long-term care facilities, retirement communities, or assisted living facilities. And we're able to give this specialized knowledge because we've teamed up with 2 other schools here at the university, School of Public Policy and the School of Economics. So you're taking classes in all 3 schools here at the university, giving you that specialized training how to become an administrator and work within the specific needs that long-term care organizations require. All 3 programs have access to our alumni network, individual office hours, whether you're an online or in-person student, and those study abroad programs. So in order to apply to these 3 programs, you'll need to submit an online application where you can upload your resume, your statement of interest, and your official transcripts. And then we'll also require 2 letters of recommendation. You can submit up to 3 maximum. If you're an international student and interested in applying, we may require you to submit English language proficiency test scores such as the TOEFL, the IELTS, the Pearson, or the Cambridge. And we'll also require financial documents and passport copy if you choose to become a residential student. Some important dates to keep in mind. We have 3 start dates per year for these 3 programs. A spring start date, which begins in January, a summer start date, which begins typically in May or June, and our fall start date, which begins in August. These are the 2 priority deadlines for those start dates, and we will continue to accept applications on a rolling basis after the priority deadline. So if you have any questions about which program's the best fit for you, the differences in the curriculum, or how it can prepare you for your career objectives, feel free to reach out to either me or one of my 3 fellow admission counselors, and we're here to answer any specific individual questions that you have. You can submit your questions via email to our general email at the school, or you can scan this QR code to fill out our inquiry form, and a mission counselor will be in contact with you. So my first question for the panel is, Jim, can you tell us one thing that you teach in your class that your students keep coming back to you and saying, thank you so much for giving me that piece of advice?
Oh, wow. I should probably ask Lourdes to help me out here. But, you know, I think um the best years of senior housing and aging services are still ahead of us. We've all heard about the baby boomers. We've heard about, in China, a lot of that, the aging demographics, really not just in China, but in Asia overall. Um, you know, everything I've done for the last 35 years has just been setting the table, because it probably will be in the next 5 to 10 years that the aging population will peak. And that will create, I think, a tremendous amount of opportunities. We've all kind of learned about Chat GPT, about AI and things like that, but there are age tech devices that can help support the aging process, but there's none that can kind of replace that sense of caring and that opportunity. So there are a lot of jobs, industries out there where people are talking about, I need to pivot to come into senior living. Like even the hotel management is a very different animal than senior living. When we talk about hotel hospitality, typically if there's a problem there, and Stephen, you're probably like me, we spend a lot of nights on the road traveling, but their solution is invariably give me more Marriott Bonvoy points. Senior living, as Lourdes will attest as director of hospitality, if there's a problem at lunch, they're coming back at dinner, and they're coming back, they live there, it's their home. And so that particular nuance, understanding a lot of these issues, I think kind of makes, and that's one thing, again, to answer your question, we bring out in class is that senior living and senior housing, and even just dealing with the aging population in general, it's got a very unique skill set that I think we understand at USC, because so much of that research that Tavia has talked about takes place in the building. And so you gain access to that knowledge of what's the latest and greatest in dementia care. And we're able to kind of get that word out quickly into the field and make a difference in people's lives.
Thank you for the answer, Jim. It's great to hear that we also have one of your students here, and Lourdes, and yes,
Tavia?
your students, one that's also working with you now.
Yes.
Lourdes, can you talk a little bit about that piece of advice that Jim gave and how you incorporate that into your practice every day?
I mean, I think if there's something, there's many things that I have learned thanks to Jim, but something that stays with me always is just, I mean, in this field, I think anyone who gets into it probably has a personal story or has something that really drew them to wanting to work with older adults. And I think, especially in senior living. So, really putting the passion and the heart into it and every single thing that you do is something that I've really, carried with me. And it's sounds pretty, you know, easy to hear, but every single day, every single thing you do, you put the heart, you put the passion, and the people are grateful, their families are grateful. So that's something that I really take with me and try to implement, especially in hospitality. And as Jim was saying, I do think this field is, starting to grow and will continue growing a lot more. And again, this is their home. It's not a place they come to, stay 3 days, and then they leave. So, um, being able to cultivate those relationships with them, pay attention to even the most minute details really, really makes a difference in their lives. And just seeing how, they transform and how they are just so grateful and they tell you, thank you so much. It it's just very rewarding. It's amazing. So
Yeah, and as you mentioned, this field's just going to continue to expand with the baby boomer generation hitting retirement
mhm.
age and needing some of these services in the senior living sector. Tavia, since you have a little bit different interest in what you want to take with your career path, can you talk a little bit about how the programs you think prepared you for the field of medicine?
Yeah, so I think that so having taken pre-med at Howard, we didn't really learn a lot about gerontology at all. I took like one class in my major that talked about like nutrition, the life cycle, and our aging section was like a week long. So it really helped me to like learn about how there's so many different things that are going on with aging. And like Lourdes was talking about, I do have a personal like connection to gerontology as well. My grandma suffers from polypharmacy, and a lot of her physicians don't really understand that adding just like one more medication is like really like decreasing her quality of life. And I think that that's like really important going into being a physician is understanding, obviously that different age groups require like different skill sets, but I think that it's like vital for every physician to be trained in gerontology. And also one of the things I wanted to speak to that Jim really helped me with is like assessing my like creativity and learning that like you can create like devices or like invent different things that can help aging and help with medicine. One of the things that the inventions that I created in his class was I made like a breathalyzer test that like plugs into the iPhone, like to help monitor like glucose levels, like blood glucose levels, like in the breath, for older adults that have diabetes, and especially for like older adults that are at home and maybe not have the support or resources to travel monthly or bi-weekly to their checkup appointments, and just kind of like things like that and thinking outside of the box. This program like really helped me to like dive into my creativity and think about different ways to make aging easier and just like being healthy altogether. So I really appreciated that about this program.
Awesome. Thank you for
Yep.
explaining that. And that's really cool how you got to incorporate some of Jim's teachings into real life practice that will definitely make an impact in some older adults' lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen, when you take a look, you think of Erin Martin, what she's doing with the food is medicine, food is health in Oklahoma. Um, the woman who graduated and works, I think, with Citibank, advising them on how to do business with the elderly. Uh, I have a class where I bring in the USC alumni, come back, and it's amazing the breadth of experiences that people have taken this degree and gone on to different places. Yeah, some remarkable stories. Again, as we talk about the network, it's brilliant people like Tavia, like Lourdes, that again, USC just becomes a force multiplier for them. I think Tavia is kind, but I think it's more the classmates that inspire, and you realize it's competitive, and it just brings out the best in people.
Yeah, I agree with you. From the alumni that I've spoken with,
Yep.
they are challenged within the programs. They're really being prepared to become leaders within this field and take the next step to guide the field in the right direction. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to our panelists, Jim, Lourdes, and Tavia, for sharing your insight with us. It was extremely valuable to me. If you have any further questions for either our panelists or our mission counselors or myself, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to answer any questions. There is no wrong question. So thank you all again for your time today, and how we hope to see you at our next session, which